What's up, everybody? Joe Carlton here with the Sports Affiliation. Welcome to Aces Up podcast episode number 23. Tonight, we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm not going to have my guest on until later on in the show. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up some of my fantasy teams, going to go over the standings, take a look at the lineup decisions. Not going to really go deep into Coleman waivers because there's a lot of shysters out there that's going to be seeing what I'm doing, and then they're going to adjust because a lot of my listeners are some of my opponents. So I'll talk about if there's a spot in my lineup, maybe I'll need to take a look at waivers for that spot, but I'm not going to go into particulars on the waivers until when my guest, I have guest Steve Deangelo coming on later on in the show. When he pops on, maybe we'll discuss waivers, week 11 waiver wire targets. We'll talk about the New England Patriots, New York Jets game. Steve is a Jets fan. I am a Patriots fan. They are playing Thursday night. So we'll get into a little bit of that. We'll talk some of the props we like for that game. And basically wing it, talk some football, go from there. But so let's get into it. We'll talk about some of my teams, some of the lineups, how they're doing, a little bit of self-reflection on my end, talk about some mistakes I made, some good picks and whatnot. So sit back, get comfortable, grab yourself a cold beverage, and enjoy the show. Happy Veterans Day, everybody. Want to thank all the veterans out there for your service. Appreciate all that you do for this country, and you allow us back here to enjoy freedom and do what we love, fantasy football podcasts, everyday life. So everything you do for our country is greatly appreciated. Just wanted to mention that. Hope you all had a great Veterans Day. This day was for you. So now let's jump in. First team I want to go over is my Scott Fishbowl team, Scott Fishbowl 15. I did the live draft in Boston. I'm part of the Boston Red Sox division. I drafted with, Michael Reedy, Rick Avery, Adam Peralta. Who else is in this? We'll take a look at the standings first. Brad Kamara, another one from Rotoballer. Him and I tied for first right now with the record at 17-3. He's got me in points. He's got 2,918 points. I got 2,860 points. I believe I checked the leaderboard earlier today. I believe I'm 665th or 668th overall, something like that. But I just had a 323-point week, and I moved up about 350 spots this week. So team's looking good going into the playoffs. We got one more week. We all know Scott Fishbowl playoffs start after week 11. So one more week, and then we go into the playoffs. Let's take a look at my team. As we know, this format is basically all flex, with 2 super flex spots that you can play up to 2 quarterbacks. But other than that, there's no position requirements. It's all flex. This week I have Jackson Dart with a concussion. I'm not expecting him to clear protocol, but if he does, then I'll revisit that. Maybe I'll put him in the lineup. We'll see. It does have a tough matchup against Green Bay. Daniel Jones on a bye. He's been one of my best picks in Scott Fishbowl. I think I got him in the 16th round, and he's been a great second quarterback. So as of right now, I got Dak Prescott and Joe Flacco in the lineup. Flacco's going against Pittsburgh, Dak against Las Vegas. I do have four pretty good quarterbacks. Just want to note that I did draft Jackson Dart. I didn't pick him up off the waivers. He's somebody I drafted late as a stash in these two quarterback formats, super flex. And I just knew that he would be a dual threat running back he'd have a great floor with his what he can do with his legs running the football. And what's up, Grayson? Appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button. Sports Affiliation's doing great things. And let's get back to this team. So we know this. We didn't want to click on Davante Adams. He is injured. I got him in the lineup right now. We'll see. I'll have to keep an eye on the practice reps this week. See the injury report come Friday. I usually don't take too much into account on the Wednesdays and Thursdays, unless it's somebody that wasn't on the injury report that suddenly pops up. I usually don't take too much into account until Friday. Friday is the one that I really go by. You get the most information out of that report. Keep clicking on players by accident. Here we go. So we got Woody Marks, Derrick Henry, T. Higgins, Arande Gadsden, another questionable one. He did have positive MRI. It's just a bruise on his quad. So if he's healthy and playing, then he's going to be in my lineup. Tight ends get 3.5 points per reception in this format on Sleeper. I got Trey McBride, Mason Taylor in there against the Patriots. He's coming off of a down week, but if you take a look at his results this year, anytime he's played a team that's given up points to the tight end, he's been productive. He's been they kind of use him. Get their game plan around the defenses that they're going against. When they face a tough defense, he's usually not a focal point of the offense. They use him around the red zone regardless. But I'm expecting him to have a decent week against the Patriots. They do give up points to the tight end. Then I got Davante Adams, we just talked about. Got George Pickens, Mark Andrews. So, yeah. Guys that I have on bye, Alvin Kamara, Daniel Jones. I've had Brashad Smith. I've had him stashed all year. I've been waiting for him to happen. I've been begging for the Chiefs to make him a thing, but it's just not the case yet. I don't know if he's got issues in pass protection or he can't play all three downs. But they have yet to commit to give him consistent volume yet. J.K. Dobbins, I got him on the bench. He's probably looking at an IR stint. He's got that foot injury. I don't think he's going to play this week, and they're talking about a possible IR stint, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Zach Charbonnet, he's been in and out of my lineup. I got him on the bench right now. He's somebody I might potentially put in. He's got a tough matchup against the Rams this week, but if Adams or Gadsden happen to miss time, he's somebody I might potentially put in the lineup. I got both Rams tight ends stash, Ferguson and Higbee. I think one of them, if they use 4 tight ends, they have 4 tight ends that have been getting 2 or 3 catches per game. So nobody really running away with the tight end job there. But, I do have them stashed in the event that, somebody misses time and they become a focal point of that passing game. So that's my Scott Fishbowl team. We'll jump over to, another sleeper team here. My Austin Eckler Charity League team. I did this draft with Gina Noble. Shout out Gina, great fantasy football player, one of the best woman fantasy players in the world, in my opinion. We got Sunset Bunny in the chat. Appreciate you tuning in. So this team here, we're doing pretty good. The top 4 make the playoffs. Let's take a look at the standings. We are in 3rd with a 7-3 record. 4th place also is 7-3. So in 5th place is 6-4. So we do have 1 game up. So Austin Eckler Charity League is a decent buy-in. All the money goes to the Austin Eckler Foundation. He donates it. He spreads it around all over the place. Charities. Great dude. Passionate about fantasy football. Love the fact that he's an NFL player and he's behind fantasy football. Is highly involved in the fantasy football industry. He was on Rick Bruce Willis's Give Back show. We had Rick do the Give Back show all off season for the Sports Affiliation, highlighting all these charity leagues, and Austin Eckler was his final guest. That was a pretty cool episode. If you guys want to go back and check that out, that was a great show. It was great to have Austin Eckler on the Sports Affiliation. But let's take a look at this team. We got Drake May at quarterback, CMC, Travis Etienne at running back. This is a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex. So we have Drake London, Xavier Worthy at wide receiver, Mark Andrews at tight end, DeAndre Swift in the flex, Will Reichert as the kicker, and the Houston defense. They have a great matchup this week against Tennessee. So I'm expecting the Houston defense to have a good week. Players I have on a bye: Daniel Jones, Alvin Kamara. We got Garrett Wilson out. We know he's going to be out for the next 4 to 6 weeks, I believe. So he may end up. Well, we're going to go ahead and actually put him on the injured reserve right now, and then I'll take a look at waivers and see who I can add for depth. But also have Christian Watson and Harold Fannin at tight end. So, 7-3. We want to get in the playoffs. We win this league. There's all kinds of cool prizes, including, tickets to the Fantasy Football Expo, sports memorabilia, autographed Austin Eckler, star jerseys, whatnot. A lot of good memorabilia. Like I said, this one I joined because it's a charity league going to good cause, and I wanted to show my support for Austin. He came on the Sports Affiliation, and that was a great show. One more league I want to take a look at in my sleeper leagues. I do have a couple of dynasty leagues on sleeper, but we're going to take a look at the TSA Title Belt League. This is the league involving the Sports Affiliation, analysts, anybody who's got shows, listeners. There are a couple of listeners in this league. The Sports Affiliation Community League, basically. Let's take a look at the standings real quick. This team is also doing good, but I have my doubts about this team because I've been getting lucky with the schedule. I've been facing guys that have had their best players on bye week when I faced them. So I've been fortunate with the schedule. I'm tied for first right now with JC with an 8-2 record. JC's killing it in the points. He made a good trade earlier this year. He acquired Jonathan Taylor. He traded away Rico Dowdle, Rashid Shaheed, and there was another player, I forget who it is, but it was a 3-for-1 deal. He got Jonathan Taylor in the deal, and he's got 2,053 points. I got 1,832, and there you go. Dennis Michelson, Science of Fantasy Football. He's in third with a 7-3 record, but he also has me crushed in points. He's got 2,024 points. His team's got big upside. He's had some down weeks, but he's had some monster weeks as well. So I'm worried about him catching me in the standings. And like I said, I'm not too confident I'm going to win this league. My team is solid, consistent, but I worry about the ceiling. I usually hover between 180 and 210 points. And, JC and Dennis, they can hit like 240, 250 with their ceiling. Shout out Andrew Loophole. He's in this league too. He's got a good team, 6-4. He's got 1,767 points. Sniper Mel up there in fourth place, 6-4. Shout out Mel. If you're in the chat, I don't know if you're here. You usually say hello in the chat, but let's take a look at the lineup itself. This is a super flex league. Defense is the defensive scoring is highlighted big time. JC wanted to make it so that defenses really, really matter. You know, his thought was defenses win championships. So let's make defensive. So defense gets points like with tackles and team defense, that is. So like if I take a look at the Houston defense, there's weeks where they've gotten me week 1, they got me a 25, week 2 a 19, week 3, 22, week 4 against Tennessee, they got a 42.4. And that's who they're playing this week. So I'm expecting, you know, a ceiling game out of them. Maybe I can get another 42 points. You get 42 points off your defense and you're looking pretty good. So yeah, I like the scoring system. It's pretty unique. Tight end premium, but you don't have to start a tight end. It is start 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and it is super flex. But like I said, tight ends are not required in your lineup. However, it is tight end premium. Kickers are also kind of a premium. The scoring for JC took the scoring from Scott Fishbowl last year, which is basically you get you get points for whatever the distance is, including the extra point. So the extra point, as we know, is 33 yards. So extra points are worth 3.3 points each. So, yeah, I got Will Lutz as my kicker. Looking at my lineup, I have Jalen Hurts and Caleb Williams as my 2 quarterbacks. And I do play Caleb in the super flex. That's probably one of the strengths of my teams. I have 2 decent quarterbacks. Looking at my running backs, I have Saquon Barkley and Woody Marks. I traded for Barkley 3 weeks ago. I traded Rome Odunze and Travis Etienne for Saquon Barkley and DJ Moore. You know, I needed running back was my weak spot. If you look at my bench, my running backs on my bench are Alvin Kamara and Tank Bigsby, and that's it. That's all I got down there. And so Saquon and Woody Marks. So I needed a solid running back that I could rely on that could carry that position. Woody Marks hadn't yet taken over the starting job. I like where he's headed now with, you know, he's starting to get more volume than Nick Chubb. He's getting more involved. He's involved in the pass game. Now he's getting more carries and he's looking pretty good. I like Woody Marks going forward the rest of the year. So Saquon and Woody Marks at running back. My 3 wide receivers are Drake London, DJ Moore, Xavier Worthy. We might have to bench DJ Moore this week. He did pick up an injury. Looking at my bench, my wide receivers are not that deep. Xavier Hutchinson, Deontay Thornton, not that great. I have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin on the IR, so I invested in the Tampa Bay wide receivers, and they have done nothing but stay injured. So I haven't been getting any production out of them. They've been on the IR, stashed away. Hopefully, you know, maybe I can get. I'm not optimistic about Mike Evans returning, but where we have IR spots, we have 2 IR. excuse me, 2 IR spots. I figured I'd throw him on there. And you know, until I actually need the space, I won't get rid of him. But if DJ Moore happens to miss, we'll have to hit the waiver wire and see what I can find up for wide receivers. My flex, because this is a tight end premium, and we didn't have to start a tight end premium. I mean, we didn't have to start a tight end. I went out and I tried to scoop up as many tight ends as I possibly could. Ones that I thought would break out. So like I have Arande Gadsden and Colston Loveland in my flex spot. So again, Gadsden being banged up, we have to keep an eye on if he's playing. Also have Hunter Henry. There's a chance that, you know, I actually might plug Hunter Henry in over Gadsden this week regardless. I'm not going to make that decision yet. I want to see some of the practice reports on Oronde Gadsden first, but I might lean Hunter Henry there. He's been fairly quiet as of late, but we're getting the Jets on a short week. They're coming off. They're on a 2-game winning streak, so they're coming in kind of hot. And I know Drake May. Hunter Henry's like the security blanket for Drake May. So if the Jets defense happens to stymie New England a little bit, slow them down, divisional games can be funny. We noticed it last week with Miami beating Buffalo. The Raiders played the Broncos really, really tough. So wouldn't surprise me if the Jets defense showed up and played a good game and Drake May had to rely on Hunter Henry this week. So we might plug him in the lineup. But that's, then I got Will Lutz at kicker and Houston at defense. I also have Indy D, and I just picked up Philly D. So I was down on Philly D coming into this year, but they just beefed up. They made a couple moves at the trade deadline, and their schedule is okay, I guess, down the stretch. But I just added them for depth because, like I said, in this particular league, the defenses score a bunch of points. So if this Philly defense starts to really turn it on, they might come in handy for me down the stretch and in the playoffs. So that's basically the three teams that I wanted to go over here. You know what? I think maybe we'll go over one more. We'll go over. Let me see. Let me hop over here. The Jim Kelly draft night out. This is the draft that I did at the Fantasy Football Expo. This is a super flex draft, 12-team league, no tight end premium, standard super flex. Looking at the standings, I believe I'm 5-5, but let's take a look. Yeah, so I'm 5-5. It doesn't show the winning streak, but I think I'm on a 3 or a 4-game winning streak. This team started off kind of slow. I'm in 5th place. There's first place teams in 8-2, 7-3 in second. 2 teams tied at 6-4. I'm not sure the playoff format in this. This is it is a 12 team, so I'm guessing the top 4 make the playoff. So I'm right there on the cusp. I do have 1,429 points, about 100 points behind all of the top 4 teams. So there is a bit of a gap there, despite my 5-5 record and only being 1 game out. We'll take a look at my lineup real quick. We got Drake May at quarterback, Drake May and Justin Fields as my quarterbacks. No other quarterback on the bench. So there has been weeks where my super flex hasn't been a quarterback because we know Justin Fields missed some time. We got Bob Hope in the chat. He's got a question. What do we got here? We'll answer it for you. Hurts or May. Also pick up Judy, drop Keenan. So I actually like Keenan Allen this week, especially if Oronde Gadsden is banged up. Oronde Gadsden's banged up, and the Chargers have a lot of offensive weapons, and we saw it when Quentin Johnston came back. They kind of eased him in. He only had a couple of catches, one of them being a touchdown in one game, but then the following game, he wasn't really used, but he was active. So I could see Gadsden being active and not necessarily being part of the game plan, and Keenan Allen kind of taking the underneath tight end type of role. So, Jerry Jeudy did show signs of life last week with a touchdown and 5 catches, but I'm kind of liking Keenan Allen this week. So I don't think I would drop Keenan Allen this week. I think I like him over Jeudy. Jalen Hurts or Drake May. Jalen Hurts has been finding ways to get the fantasy points week in and week out. Drake May's got the Jets. I just talked about how this is a short week and this could be a kind of a dogfight for the Patriots. I don't necessarily see them, I think I looked at the Vegas implied totals and they have the Patriots 34 and the Jets 17. I think it's going to be closer than that. But that's a close one, Bob. I think you're probably going to get a similar stat line between the two of them. Have to see real quick who's Philadelphia playing. Do I have anyone on Philadelphia on this team? Yeah, Philadelphia is playing Detroit. It's in Philly. We know Detroit can put up points. It's probably a possible shootout. I think I'm leaning Jalen Hurts over Drake May this week. But like I said, it's really close. It could go either way. But Drake May, I mean, he's had those games where he's only gotten 15 or 16 points, and Jalen Hurts has found a way to hit that 20-point plateau almost every single week. And you factor in a possible shootout against Detroit. We know that Dan Campbell's calling the plays now, so aggressive. Detroit's going to be aggressive against Philadelphia. This is an important game regarding home field advantage in the NFC playoffs. So, I think I side with Jalen Hurts by a little bit. But let's jump back into talking about my team here. 5-5. We have Drake May and Justin Fields as quarterbacks. My running backs are Jahmyr Gibbs, Chase Brown. Wide receivers, Tet McMillan, Drake London. Tight end, Hunter Henry. Oh, I scrolled a little too far there. In my flex positions, I have Stephon Diggs, Jordan Addison, and on my bench, so my kicker, I got Chase McLaughlin from Tampa Bay. I got the Atlanta defense going against Carolina this week in the lineup. On my bench, I got J.K. Dobbins with the foot injury. I got Zach Charbonnet, Troy Franklin, who I'm not that big on this week. I think I like Jordan Addison over Troy Franklin this week, so I got Franklin on the bench. Calvin Ridley been taking up a spot. He's out. There's no IR in this. There's no injured reserve in this league. So, I've been keeping him stashed in the event he comes back, but I am slowly, if it wasn't for the fact that, the free agent list is pretty dried up, I probably would drop him already. I got Dobbs on the bench. Dalton Kincaid also on the bench. He's been my starting tight end all year, but he's injured, so he's down on the bench. I got Hunter Henry in there right now. Kyle Pitts as well. So I do have 3 tight ends to choose from. Like I said, this team's on the cusp of the playoffs. We'll see how it goes the next couple of weeks. But that's it for my sleeper teams. I'm gonna go ahead and remove this from the screen, and I'll bring up some of my high stakes teams, and we'll go over some of those. Let's remove that. Give me a second here. Jump over to the NF. So I play on the NFFC platform, National Fantasy Football Championship. It's high stakes. Most of the leagues I play are $350 buy-ins. There's an overall prize, $250,000. If you win the league, it's a $1,500 for first place in the league. Or you could trade it in for one of the primetime events. The primetime events, I do have one primetime team that's a actually it's an $1,800 buy-in these days. Used to be $17, but they went up $100 on that. Let me share the screen. Let's get the share screen going. NFFC share. All right, let's bring this up. There we go. All right, so what we're looking at here is the points. This is the point standings. We'll click it to the record. This is my NFFC primetime team. This is my big $1,800 buy-in team. I won my way into it from last year. I won an NFFC RotoWire online challenge, a $350 buy-in. Traded it in for the primetime seat. I did this draft live in New York at Greenwich Street Tavern. Shout out Chris Vaccaro. He's in this league. I actually just squeaked out a win against him. I needed 6 points out of Devonta Smith, and he didn't get them until that touchdown catch. So it was a bit of a sweat, but it was a big win for me. Tied for first with Glenn Lowy, 7-3. I'm eighth in points with 1365. The leader is Mike Sander with 1461. So we're only 95, 96 points off of first place. The top three spots in this league may earn money. It's so this format. Let me explain the format, why the record and the points matters. If you finish with the best record outright, not tied with anybody, the tiebreaker is total points if you do tie with a record. But if you finish with the best record, but not the most points, whoever finishes with the most points, you have a 3-week shootout in the playoffs. So this goes to week 14. Week 15 starts the shootout round. The top 2 teams from each league make the shootout round and compete for the $250K overall. But if you finish with the best record, not the most points, you don't win the league right away, and the person with the most points doesn't win the league right away. You guys you have to basically do a heads-up match for 3 weeks. You start with your weekly average, and then the 3 weeks get factored in, and the winner of that wins the league. So right now I'm 7-3. Glenn Lowy is 7-3. I do face off against him in week 12 or week 13. It's upcoming. So I basically control my destiny. If I win out and beat Glenn, I'll finish with the best record, and I will earn myself a spot in the shootout and facing off for the league. If I click on just points, second place has 1427, third place has 1426. Fourth is 1424. It's really tight, and I have 1365. So we're only talking about 60 points. I'm only about 60 points out of third place cashing for money. So that can be made up in 4 weeks. That could be made up in 2 weeks, or one, depending on who has a bad week and who has a good week. So this is a really, really, really tight competitive league. I see the top 8 teams are all within reach. They're all within 90 points of each other, 100 points of each other from first to eighth. Very, very tough league going against, fantasy football Hall of Famers in this one. Matt Modica's in this league. He's part of the Empire podcast. Chris Vaccaro also part of that podcast. Billy Wasowski is in this league. We've had him on Aces Up a couple of times and he's one of the best players around. Very difficult, very competitive league. Andrew Geller's in this league. The Guilds, you guys know him as the Guilds on Twitter. He's won 4 different main events on the baseball this year, which is a rare feat. Nobody wins that many main events in their lifetime. Usually he did it all in 1 year. So, a lot of shot players in this one. Mike Sander, Glenn Lowy, guy in third place. I believe I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I believe it's Paiku. Cousins. He won this league last year, the live primetime draft that I was in that went down in New York. So, but we're gonna take a look at my lineup real quick. Where are we? Transactions, set lineup. So I got Bo Nix and Caleb Williams at quarterback, and they've been driving me nuts all year trying to figure out which one to start. I mentioned earlier that I'm 96 points out of first. A few weeks back, I played Caleb Williams over Bo Nix. Caleb Williams scored 6 points. Bo Nix had a 46, so that's 40 points right there. In that same week, I decided to take a shot on Luke McCaffrey going against Dallas. He goose-egged me. I played him over Devonta Smith. Devonta Smith got a 33 that week. So that's 74 points I left on the bench in 1 week. And then this past week, I played Bo Nix over Caleb Williams, and that costed me 20 points. So we're looking at 94 points just based on 3 mistakes. Those 3 mistakes, I make the different decision, and I'm right there at first place. So this team has potential. I have 4 weeks to cut into those 100 points. We'll go through my lineup real quick. It's up here. We got Bo Nix at quarterback, Chase Brown and Woody Mox at running back. Wide receivers are Jackson Smith and Jigba, Devonta Smith, Stephon Diggs. And I got Tyler Warren on a bye, so we're going to have to pull him out of the lineup. I got Deebo Samuel at the flex currently. We got the Bears kicker. And this in NFFC, it's not player kickers. They go team kickers, to help deal with the injuries, I guess, make it simpler. Patriots defense against the Jets this week. On the bench, I have Caleb Williams going against Minnesota, Bo Nix going against KC. So I'm expecting Denver to be competitive in that one. It's a big division contest. I think more points will be put on the board in that game as opposed to Chicago, Minnesota. Minnesota's D has been pretty good the last 2-3 weeks, and I'm leaning towards Bo Nix this week. Hopefully that this quarterback controversy here doesn't continue to kick my ass. At running back on the bench, I got Brian Robinson stashed. Alvin Kamara on a bye week. He's been disappointing this year. I suppose if he had been playing better, I would have a few more points up there in the overall standings. But it is what it is. He's on the bench. I continue to stash Brashad Smith. I have him a lot of places. Devin Singletary, I scooped him up a couple weeks ago. When Scatterbo went down, I thought that he is the running back to own for the Giants. I mean, it's been pretty much a split between him and Tracy. Tracy's getting more carries, but, if you look at the fantasy points, Singletary's outproducing him in fantasy points because he is the third down back. He is the goal line back. He gets the touchdowns. He gets the receptions. And Tyrone Tracy is more the early down back. So that's how that goes. Hopefully, not hopefully, but we do know that Tyrone Tracy can be injury prone. That's another thing. We know Singletary has been okay as a feature running back. He did it with Houston for a year. He did it with the Buffalo Bills for a year. So that's why I have Singletary rostered. I have Tank Bigsby, the direct handcuff to Saquon Barkley. Another disappointment that's on my bench. You're going to have to see if he's playing this week or not. Watch the injury reports is Brian Thomas Jr., my first round pick, underperforming. So, if he was Brian Thomas last year, I suppose I could possibly be in first place just on that alone. He's averaging 10.7 fantasy points per game last year. I think he was closer to 16, 17. So that right there would put me up near the top of the standings. We just picked up Pat Bryant and threw him in there as a deep stash. That's something that what I was thinking was late in the season. Some rookies can break out, have big games. If something happens to one of my starting wide receivers during the shootout rounds, I like to have a correlation between my quarterback and my wide receiver in case there's a random big game. It's a unique combo, Bo Nix, Pat Bryant. If I throw them in there for a week during the 3-week shootout out of necessity, and Pat Bryant happens to have a 2-touchdown game, not many people will have that going towards their total, and it's a unique combo that might help me down the stretch. I've been in a lot of these shootouts in the past, And one thing you need is something that's unique about your lineup, and guys that random big games out of guys that you don't expect big games is what wins you these tournaments in the shootout rounds. I have the Colts defense as well stashed. I haven't really combed waivers yet this week. Like I said, I have 12 teams on Sleeper, 12 teams on this platform. So Tuesday night, we know Sleeper's Sleeper's platform runs waivers on Tuesday night, and NFFC's is Wednesday night. So I kind of split them up into 2 different days. So I'm not doing 25 teams all at once. It is a lot. So that's pretty much it for this team. We'll jump down. We'll jump right over to we'll go to my best RotoWire online challenge team. This is a $350 buy-in. Same format, same thing. Top 2 teams make the shootout. It's a total points contest. You can get in with the best record, but I explained that earlier. We'll take a look at the standings. Where are we? Standings. League. This one here is pretty tight at the top. I'm tied for first with David Webb, 8-2 record. He's got 1,538 points. I have 1,522. This team is ranked 203rd overall out of, I don't know, I think there's like 4,200 teams. So, like I said, I'll start with my best teams, and then we'll go down until Steve shows up. And then we'll talk about the Patriots and the Jets game and some Week 11 waiver wire targets. But here we are in second place in this league. We are 16 points out of first on a 4-game winning streak. This team's going pretty good. I do have Jonathan Taylor on a bye week this week. This is my only Jonathan Taylor share. Wish I had more of him. I was big on Cincinnati this year, their schedule down the stretch in particular. And as we know, Joe Burrow went down and the offense has kind of struggled for a little bit. Chase Brown's, doing better now with Joe Flacco at quarterback. But, I wish I had more JT, or at least mixed in some more JT and had, like 50-50 split between him and Chase Brown. But I was kind of all in on Cincinnati offense this year based on their schedule down the stretch. Third place team has more points than me by 3, but I got them in the record, so that's why I'm ahead of them right now in the standings. But it's looking like the top 3 teams in this league will make the shootout. You can get into the shootout as a wild card if you finish in the top 15% overall, or if you finish with more points than the team that finishes with the best record in your league. So there's multiple ways to get into the shootout. For the most part, it's just the top 2 teams, but there's been instances where a third and a fourth team from the same league can make the shootout round based upon how the cookie crumbles, I guess. So if you, like I said, if you have 4 teams in the top 15% all in one league, they're all going to go to the shootout. So right now we're looking pretty good in this one. We'll take a look at the roster itself, the lineup. Transaction set lineup. Let's see. We have this one again. We have Bo Nix at quarterback. I also have Jackson Dart on the bench. I've been playing Jackson Dart for the most part, but like I said, I already some of these lineups I already went in and preset. Sometimes late Sunday night after the 4:00 game, before the 8:00 game starts, I'll go in on some of my teams and do like a lineup set. I'll get some of the following week bye week guys or guys I know that got hurt I'll pull them out of the lineup right away, and then that way it gives me a head start come Wednesday, Thursday. So I got Bo Nix in there right now. No other quarterback other than Nix and Dart. I got Jonathan Taylor on a bye week. There he is down there on my bench. So right now I have Ashton Genty and Kamani Vidal in at running back. Ashton Genty's got a great matchup against Dallas. Kamani Vidal against Jacksonville. He's still the feature back until after the bye week. I believe I read a report today saying Omarion Hampton should be back after the week 12 bye. So I'll have Kamani Vidal for at least this week. I had been flexing him, but, eventually he'll hit the bench and then Jonathan Taylor will be back, and then I'll have Taylor and Genty going forward. Cross fingers. Hopefully those two guys stay healthy because they've both been producing. At wide receiver, I have JSN, Cortland Sutton, Jordan Addison. I also have J-Mo and at the flex. My backup wide receiver is the only one I have on the bench is Wan'Dale Robinson. So I have 5 wide receivers rostered on this team. Would like to see Cortland Sutton pick back up his wide receiver 1 pace. He's taken a backseat to Troy Franklin the last few weeks, and I think that will change because I just think Denver's offense is struggling without Cortland Sutton being the wide receiver 1 that they need him to be. So I'm anticipating a bounce back week from him. They're playing Kansas City. It's a big game for talking about playing for the division here, possibly home field in the playoffs if they come across each other in the playoffs. So I think you might see Denver leaning in on Cortland Sutton a little bit more. Jordan Addison, he's been a little bit of a disappointment with J.J. McCarthy. I feel like the 2 games that I've seen, Jalen Naylor has been the guy. Justin Jefferson, you could see there was some frustration this week between him and J.J. McCarthy. Addison had been pretty consistent because he'd been getting in the end zone almost every game. So Jordan Addison looking, his production's a little bit down, but, I do have Wan'Dale on the bench. So in the event that Jackson Dart comes back, when he comes back from his concussion, Wan'Dale comes into play. Tight end, I got Aronde Gadsden in there right now. Again, we'll have to see his practice reports. I do have Hunter Henry on the bench. Evan Ingram still on the bench. Don't know why I haven't dropped him yet. He might be a casualty when I go to finalize this roster before week 14 is over with. And, I kind of don't like to carry too much at one position, like especially the 1Z positions, quarterback and tight end. Obviously, you want 2 in the event of injuries. But when you're talking about a 3-week shootout, you don't necessarily need depth, those 3rd and 4th and 5th players at the position. You want to maybe add another defense or another kicker. It all comes down to matchups for those 3 weeks. So if you got to use 3 different defenses based on matchup, you're looking to get the maximum points possible. You want to save your bench spots for that. You don't want to carry a 3rd tight end or a 3rd quarterback. You usually want to consolidate those down to 2, and like I said, add pieces that you might use in the shootout, especially for a 1 week rentals. Like I said, unique players that nobody else has. Sometimes you got to take a shot or 2, especially if it's after the first week or 2 and you're falling behind. You got to get creative to try to make up some ground, because otherwise, in the shootout at that point, you're competing against teams that are from other leagues. So you're sharing players. So, there's a little bit of a DFS aspect to it. For 3 weeks, obviously, you still want to make redraft decisions. You don't want to get too fancy, but sometimes it kind of forces the hand. Like I said, if you have a dud first week and you fall a few points behind, and in a lot of the guys you have, you're sharing with some of the teams that are ahead of you, and even if they have big weeks, you're not going to make up that much ground. Then you have to get a little unique to make up the ground. So that's what you're looking to do on your bench. Get rid of the third quarterback, get rid of the third tight end, and pick up some guys that you might need down the stretch. But looking at my bench, I have Rashad White, Keon Mitchell, Bam Knight, Hunter Henry, Evan Ingram, and I got Eagles D stashed. Like I said, I think this is a defense that could turn it on in the next few weeks. So I have carrying three defenses. I got the Atlanta Falcons in there right now. I picked them up a couple of weeks back. Buddy of mine, Joey Brown, shot me and put in the DMs earlier today. Atlanta is a good target to stash for the shootout rounds or the next couple of weeks. I was already on that, so good call, Joey. But yeah, this is my best 350 team. Looks pretty good, and hopefully this can do some damage. Let's take a look at my my New York 350 online championship team. That's the lineup. I want to go to the standings first. Let's take a look at the standings here. I'm in 6th place with the record. Let's filter out. So I'm 5-5. There's one guy that's 9-1. Another guy's 8-2. So the record is pretty much thrown out the window for me, because the only way the record comes into play is if you finish first. You don't get nothing for the second best record. So let's filter it out to points. And 6th place as well, 1401. Top team has 1509. Second place, 1505. The guy with a 9-1 record has 1453. So and I got 1401. So we're talking 100 points. 100 points out of a playoff spot right now. So we got work to do here. Had a down week. My team was going strong, but just a 100-point week. I had some guys on bye this week. I believe, Jamar Chase is one that comes to mind. We'll take a look at my lineup now. Here's this column here where it says change, where I got the arrow, 100 points. That's all I scored. So these guys, 169, 127, 145, 140, 140. They all gained at least 40 points on me. Guy at the top gained 69 points on me. So that's why I'm 100 points out of first. Now, it was pretty tight going into last week, but like I said, I had some key players on bye weeks. We'll take a look at the lineup. I already pre-did this one too, so you'll see Jamar Chase is back in there. At quarterback, I have Dak Prescott, 2 running backs, Rico Dowdle and Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones has looked pretty good. He's healthy. He doesn't have the questionable tag next to him anymore. He's got a good matchup against Chicago, so I'm expecting a good matchup. A good game out of Aaron Jones this week. This could be a bounce back week for this lineup. I got Jamar Chase and Rashee Rice back. Those are the 2 guys that I was missing last week. Killed my lineup. Only produced 100 points when this lineup had been doing 150 plus for the last few weeks. Right now, my wide receiver 3 is Michael Wilson. When we get to the bench, you'll see why. Tight end Trey McBride. And right now I got Arondé Gadsden in the flex. So, hopefully he's healthy, because when we get to my bench, you'll see why. Team kicker, Houston Texans, and I got the Patriots D against the Jets. Looking at my bench, the 2 names at the bottom you see out and doubtful. And we know that doubtful is an out, and that's Terry McLaurin and Garrett Wilson. This was a real strong lineup at one point. Missing T-Mac and Garrett Wilson kind of hurts. this particular draft, I did a 0 running back. I didn't take a running back until Aaron Jones in round 7, and it was looking bleak for the first couple of weeks, and then Rico Dowdle happened. So and then now I had Kenneth Gainwell on the bench. Kyle Monangai was on the bench, Tyrone Tracy. So I have a ton of running backs on this team. Brian Robinson, Kenneth Gainwell, Kyle Monangai, Tyrone Tracy, Brashad Smith, Devin Singletary. You name it, I have it, and that's because this was my 0 RB build. So, I got Aaron Jones and Rico Dowdle in there, so it kind of paid off. It finally did hit. It hit kind of late. I was starting to creep up towards the top of the leaderboard, and then the bye week issue happened last week. So hopefully I can make up those 100 points in the next 4 weeks. It's going to be damn close. It's going to come down to the wire, I think. Be nice if Garrett Wilson didn't come back and get hurt. So I'm going to have to take a look at waivers and see what I can find for wide receivers, because the only wide receiver I have on my bench right now that isn't hurt is Olamide Zaccheaus, and he kind of was phased out last week. I mean, he's still getting snaps, but Luther Burden looks like he might eventually take over and be the wide receiver that takes that spot going into the second half of the season, especially with Colston Loveland coming on now. And, we have to keep an eye on DJ Moore's injury as well, but there's a lot of mouths to feed in that Chicago offense. Zaccheaus was just a bye week fill last week, and he disappointed. He only got like I think he had 1 point. Let me take a look real quick. 1.5. He had 1 catch for 5 yards on 4 targets after having 2 weeks in a row with double-digit points. I picked him up as a bye week filler because I had Jamar Chase and Rashee Rice on a bye week, and he disappointed. So I'm probably gonna end up cutting him. I'll have to take a look and comb waivers early tomorrow morning and see what I can figure out there, because right now my wide receiver 3 is Michael Wilson, and I'm using a tight end in my flex with Arondé Gadsden. So again, now my backup quarterback is Jacoby Brissett. He filled in well on Dak's bye week, but obviously we're rolling Dak going forward. So that's this team. We are gonna move on to the next team. Steve just texted me, and it sounds like he's not gonna make it on. Let me text them back real quick. It's asking if I'm on, saying he just finished up a podcast with Ernie over on Face Off, and that he's sneezing up a storm and he's not feeling good. So, it sounds like he's not going to be on. So we'll just keep going over my teams. And then I'll give some thoughts on the Patriots-Jets game later on. I'll open up the DraftKings Sportsbook. I'll see if I can find some props for you guys that I like, and we'll go from there. But we'll take a look at a couple more of these teams. We've been going for almost an hour now, so we'll take a look at this team. This one, Throwing Up Cash. That's so I named this team Throwing Up Cash because my son, his name is Cash, and right as I was this was actually the first draft I did back in May, early May, shortly after the NFL draft. And legitimately, I think I had the number 2 pick, and I'm not shitting you guys. The countdown, the clock, the countdown to start the draft was at like 30 seconds, and he painted the bathroom with puke. Like, he just got sick and threw up all over the place. My wife was out. I was the only person home, and I had to scramble to the bathroom, clean it up, get him situated on the couch. But by the time I got back to the I set Bijan in the queue. I actually set Bijan and Jamar Gibbs and Mike Q. And by the time I got back, it was already on like pick 7. And I obviously I got Bijan. As you can see, my lineup is right here. But I want to take a look at the But that's why I named the team Throwing Up Cash. It's not because I think this team is going to win money. It has to do with my son painting the bathroom just before the draft started. And I had almost live streamed the draft too, but because he wasn't feeling well earlier in the day and my wife wasn't home, I was like, I better not, just in case he does get sick. And that was a good call because he did get sick. But let's take a look at the standings here. This team's doing pretty good. We're in second via the record, 8-2. Guy in first is 95th overall. He's got a lot more points than me. This team only has 1,300. If I filter it out to points, I'm 4th in points with 1,397. Second place in points has 1,449. Billy Wasowski, we were talking about him earlier. He's in third with 1,403, and I got 1,397. So I'm 52 points out of second place as far as total points goes. So got some work to do there. 8-2, tied with Dombrowski, the first place guy. In order for me to get in via the record or earn myself that 3-week shootout for the league title, I will have to have a finish with a better record than him. If we tie with the same record, he's got the tiebreaker, which is total points. So he needs to lose, and I need to win. I need to finish one game ahead of him in order to earn that shootout for the league title. Because I don't think I'm going to catch him in points. He's got 1,557 points. He's got a 160 point cushion on me there. So it's going to come down to the wins and loss record. Otherwise, I can possibly chase down second place in total points, and I'll get $700. Second place earns $700 and gets in the shootout. So we're chasing second place points or the best record. So this team is in pretty good shape overall. Let's take a look at the lineup. We have Jared Goff at quarterback. I do have two. I have Jared Goff and Caleb Williams. Like I said, this draft was done in late May, so we have Jared Goff, Caleb Williams as quarterbacks. I got Bijan and Brees at running back. Wide receivers, Jamison Williams, Rashee Rice, Marvin Harrison. Tight end, Laporta. So I did the little Detroit stack there, Goff, J-Mo, and Laporta. Flex and DeAndre Swift. I got the Houston kicker. I have a lot of Houston kicker. Patriots D, have a lot of Patriots D. On the bench, we got Singletary, Keaton Mitchell, Wan'Dale Robinson, Christian Watson, Rashid Shaheed, David Njoku, Arondé Gadsden, and then there you go, Atlanta Falcons D stashed. I might consider starting them actually this week. They do have a good matchup against Carolina. I'll have to figure that out before Thursday night because the Patriots play Thursday night. Some cranberry juice. All right, so we got Falcons and Colts D down on the bench. So yeah, this is a pretty good team. I'm going with Jared Goff over Caleb Williams. Again, I discussed earlier, I think Caleb Williams and the Chicago offense has a real test this week going against Minnesota. In Minnesota. So, I mean, I don't know if that's a bad thing because, it is indoors, but, Minnesota D has been looking real good. And I expect the Detroit-Philadelphia game to be a potential shootout. I don't think that stays low scoring. It's on Sunday night. It's a primetime game. We just had a terrible primetime game, so I'm looking for a bounce-back, entertaining primetime game Sunday night between Detroit and Philadelphia. So I'm going to go with Goff over Caleb Williams. Not sure if I need any help on the free agent list here. This team rolls pretty deep. I might look at kicker just to see if there's a possible second kicker I want to carry going into the shootout rounds. This team is a contender, so this is possible. Excuse me. Been talking a lot, so now my throat's getting dry and scratchy. Gonna take another sip here. Not used to going solo, but here we are, going solo, reviewing some of my teams. That's throwing up cash. Pretty good team. It's my only Bijan share. I got Rashee Rice in the 4th round in this draft. The team that we just went over before that, the one with Rashee Rice, I got him in the 6th, I believe, or it might have been the 5th. It's either the 5th or the 6th. But I did have the number 1 pick, so I guess you could say that was the 5-6 turn, whatever. But either way, I wasn't picking Rashee Rice or any earlier than the 4th round. And again, this draft happened in May, so we'll move on. We'll take a jump to we'll take a look at the team. Me and Steve split. We drafted this team live on, I believe it was on my channel, on the Sports Affiliation channel. This was later in draft season. We picked from the back end, and we started with Drake London. So let's take a look at the standings real quick before we go over my lineup. We're in 4th place with the record 6-4. There's one guy 9-1, 2 teams 8-2. So we might not be getting in via the record, but if we filter out points, we are 2nd in points. So that's going to be good enough to get us in the shootout for now. We got 1484. First place team has 1590. He's actually 42nd overall in this contest. That's really high. We're 394th overall. Like I said, there's like 4,000 plus teams in this contest altogether. 250K at the top, but you gotta get into the shootout in order to play for that. And we are in 2nd place with 1484. 3rd place has 1456, and 4th place 1368. So we got 4 weeks to go. We have a 28-point cushion on 2nd place. Steve just popped in. Here he is. He's back. He called out sick. Now he's here. We're going to bring him on.
Yo.
What's up, Steve?
What's up, man? Oh, my mic's over here. Yeah, I just finished the show at Ernie. Yeah, I'm sneezing like a madman over here. The weather, I guess you guys must be really freezing up there. What is it, like 20 degrees up there in Boston?
No, it says it feels like 20, but it's like 40. I got the winter hat on. I mean,
dude, I was wearing a winter hat today in Florida. It was like 50 degrees. I'm like, I remember when I lived in Jersey, if it was 50 degrees, I was wearing shorts. Like, this is the best shit in the world. Now I can't get used to the cold out here. But anyway, good to be with you, man. And
appreciate you joining. I'm just going through my teams, man. I started with my charity league teams. Now we're on the high stakes. Nice. Going over, you popped in right at the right time. We're going over our team here, 3 amigos. Was just discussing how we're probably not going to be competing for the record here, but we are 2nd in points. We have a 28-point cushion. Team's looking pretty solid, going 394th overall. Second place in points will get us in the shootout. It's not going to get us a league title, but we're looking at at least a possible second place finish and definitely a shootout berth. Take a look at the lineup. We may as well go over our starting lineup now that you're here. we're always like at that Thursday 6 o'clock. Hey, what do you think? We should play this guy over this guy? What do you?
Our communication hasn't been the best, but We'll figure it out. Hey, we're in second place, baby. Let's go.
That's it. 1 week it's you, 1 week it's you, 1 week it's me. I don't know. It's better that way. That way we're not arguing over shit.
I mean,
right?
most of our decisions aren't that major. They're usually like some random fucking, but yeah.
That's why when you texted me, I'm like, I made the decision the last couple of weeks. Why don't you make it this week? That way, I think it's easier that way. Then there's no debate. There's no arguing.
Well, I said, should we go with Mariota over?
Yeah, I was saying no for that, but I told you.
Close. I think Brissett maybe had like 4 or 5 more points, but at that point I was like out to dinner with my wife. I'm like, it's gonna be close enough. I'm not gonna make a big change. Just think about it at this point.
Nice. So I already kind of preset this lineup on Sunday night. I don't know how you feel about it, but I threw Patrick Mahomes back in there. Obviously, we had Brissett in last week because of the Week 10 bye. We got Breece Hall. I decided to throw DeMarcado in there. I don't know how you feel about that. I'm not confident.
Carter might be hurt this week, right? So that might not be a bad one.
I mean, we got Singletary, Jordan Mason, Nick Chubb, Isaiah Davis, Rashad Smith, Brian Robinson. We got a lot of handcuffs on the bench. Kamara on bye week.
Yeah, Brian Robinson. It seems like he's starting to get some flex value the last couple of weeks. I mean, Henry. Yeah, I mean, Henry's not a bad one. He hasn't really been doing much, but I mean, other options aren't great. I mean, who do we really have, right? So.
That's what I'm saying.
Henry might be the best option there. Like I said, Brian Robinson is. I mean, he can be considered. Like back-to-back weeks, 10, 12 points. He's actually getting some more carries the last couple of weeks, so it's possible.
Let's see. You got 8 carries, 41 yards, and a touchdown. 5 carries, 53 yards, and a touchdown. He's certainly fresh, and that touchdown he scored, there was no doubts about it, man. Like,
he's looking good.
He does look good.
And this is a game where they could kind of be ahead. So that's what I said. But Henry's not a bad. It's close between those two. But yeah, DeMarcado I like because he should catch a lot of passes in this game. Especially if Carter's out, he'll be the receiving back again. I mean, if Bam Knight's out, I mean, he'll be the receiving back anyway. Carter kind of stinks. He's probably the best back on the team.
I think he's always been the most talented back on the team. He just did something stupid earlier on in the year. And got himself
exactly. I don't know why these guys are doing that. I mean, it's
still to this day, I still think he broke the plane, but that's a story for another day.
Some of these have been real close, man. It's crazy.
Wide receivers, we got Drake London, JSN, Debo. On our bench, we have Alec Pierce on a bye week. We had been using him the last couple of weeks in the flex spot. He's been coming in clutch. Can't wait to get him back in there now because right now we're looking at having a second tight end, which we kind of done all year.
Yeah. Alec Pierce was the one where when we were talking to each other on the phone, and I said, should we drop Hollywood Brown or Thornton? This was like I guess maybe the first week when Rice came back, or like maybe Rice was coming back that week, and we dropped Hollywood Brown to pick up Pierce, and then Hollywood Brown had 2 touchdowns that week, so we weren't really that happy. But we cutted Thornton anyway, and now these kind of guys are kind of phased out, and Pierce looks like the best play, obviously, the rest of the way. I'm really excited about him the rest of the way here.
Me too. I agree. Two good things about that move that makes it a brilliant move. Okay, nobody had Hollywood Brown for those 2 touchdowns. He was locked on the free agent list, and then somebody in our league, the Guilds, I believe, spent $539, which is 54% of his fab on him, and I don't think he gave him a starter caliber week since.
No.
So.
Not much, so. That was like 3-4 weeks ago that we did that. Yeah.
So that ended up being a good move, if you ask me.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited about Pierce, man. Like he's beating a lot of good corners. We were just talking about him on the Fab show. I think he's like 42% owned in like sleeper and Yahoo leagues. Obviously NFC, he's like, what is it, like 99% probably. But sleeper and Yahoo, if he's out there in your league, that's a guy you definitely want to be going picking up. I think he's going to have a strong finish of the year.
I'm looking for the ownership percent. Where is it? I have it on the wrong menu. I need to put to show. Is it show players only? I forget what it is. No,
I'm not even sure.
Show schedule. No, I forget what menu it's on.
I mean, he's not out there in any of my leagues. So
no, I don't think he is. I highly doubt it.
That's why I said when I noticed him out there like 3-4 weeks ago, he wasn't available in many leagues. So I was like, this is kind of one of the better free agents. So we should go after him here.
Yeah, that was definitely a good pickup.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's this team. I just wanted to look at one more team here, and then maybe we'll talk about the Thursday night game and give a couple of props, and then we'll get out of here.
Sounds good.
So I want to take a look at my auction team. This is the first auction I ever did.
Nice. I did 3 auctions this year.
I didn't think I did that good because I got towards the end of the auction and all I had left was dollar bids. But
that's fine. That's how you want it.
No, I know, but I wish I let the max bid. I wish I had a bigger max bid.
It was a little too early for the dollar bid.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So there were a lot of guys that I wanted that I didn't end up getting. But let's take a look at the standings here. I'm in third place with the record, 6-4.
You're right there.
Let's filter it out by points. Fifth in points with 1360, but second place is 1377. So we're only 17 points out of second place. I'm pretty sure this is the same format as the online championship.
Four teams make the playoffs in this one, but
is it?
Yeah, 4 teams make the playoffs, but the top 2 only make the
shootout.
So that's what happened to me. That's what happened to me in one of my leagues last year. I was like, I made the playoffs, but I didn't make the shootout, and I ended up winning the league. And I was like calculating it. I would have finished like top 8, like top 10 in the shootout if I made it, but I didn't make it because I was 4th overall. But I ended up winning the league. So yeah, that's the one good thing about the auctions where it's like, you get the playoffs in this one, which is kind of cool.
Oh, so it's a 4-team playoff for the league, and then the top 2 go for the overall title.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool. I like that. So I'm in good shape then. 6-4, 1360.
Yeah, but obviously you want to get into that shootout. I mean, that's
yeah.
Right there. You're right there. That's solid, man.
I'll take a look at the lineup. We got Jacoby Brissett at quarterback. I had CJ Stroud. Kyler Murray was my quarterback, obviously, to start.
Making it work with Brissett last month. Is that who you've been using?
That is who I've been using, and I know I got Billy Wasowski in this league too. He did. I thought he did real good during the draft, but his team results not so great. But when I picked up Jacoby Brissett in this league off the free agent list and played him, he got like a 29. Then the next week, he's in like almost all of my 350s. He drafts with us. He's in
a field as well. Yeah,
he didn't go out there and pick up Jacoby Brissett on every team he needed a quarterback and started using. I was like, I wonder if he stole that from me because and there's a reason why I did that. I had the Kyler Murray, Trey McBride stack here, so I was like, you know what.
Right. Made sense,
I'll go with Brissett, and he's been getting me by, man. So Bijan was my big. I spent a lot of big money on Bijan, big money on Trey McBride. I decided to go with middle of the pack wide receivers. I thought we're going to have a good year. George Pickens, Devonta Smith. I got Jaden Higgins in there right now, but if you look at my bench, I got Cooper Kupp, Malik Washington.
Your third receiver is hurting a little bit.
Yeah, but Jaden Higgins he looked pretty good last week.
Yeah,
I think Davis, as long as Davis Mills is the quarterback,
they got to get rid of Xavier Hutchinson and Christian Kirk and play Higgins more. We were just talking about Higgins. He's probably their second best receiver. Like start using him more. Yeah, Davis Mills too. making these guys like Nico had a monster game with Davis Mills. That was crazy. But yeah, you got Worthy there too. Like he could come up. You never know. Maybe you got some guys that you could plug and play. And Devonta, man, like he's looking like a stud now. Like he's really, really coming on. He's being a consistent option week in and week out the last like month. So that's
nice. if I had to, I could move Worthy up to the wide receiver 3, and I could flex Dalton Schultz. So
you might want to get Schultz in your lineup with Davis Mills for 100. Yeah, I think so.
Schultz over Higgins against Tennessee. I don't know.
I mean, maybe over Worthy against Denver. How much? That's close.
Right, Xavier Worthy's disappointing this year. Let me look at his results.
He hasn't done anything since Rice came back, really.
No, he doesn't even. He doesn't even have a 20-point game all year.
Schultz had a monster game last week, and I think he's had back-to-back 2 good games now with Davis Mills.
I think you might be onto something, man, Steve. I'm gonna make that move.
Don't blame me if
no. I'm only blaming you for the Caleb Williams thing last week because I knew I was right, and then I went to change it back during the commercial. It was during the commercial before kickoff, and guy and Bo Nix was already locked.
Well, was it 1 o'clock? Was it 1 o'clock?
It goes by the time, doesn't it?
Yeah, it goes by the time. Yeah. Once it hits 1 o'clock, you're done, I think. And CBS Sports Line, you only get 5 minutes, so it's like 12:55. You have to have your lineups in.
I wish it was by kickoff. That would be so much cooler.
That would be cooler. But yeah, I think they have to do it by 1 o'clock. Click on Schultz's name. What has he done the past couple of weeks? I know he's
done. He's done well. 18.3. 13.7, then a down week against the 49ers, but before that, 18.
I mean, Schultz is the type of guy that can give you a freaking 5 points, but I don't really see much upside with Worthy there against Denver. So
he's got 32 targets in the last 4 weeks. So I mean, that's pretty solid.
Yeah, that is solid.
And they're going against Tennessee, and I have a little Houston combo here, Higgins and Schultz. So this might work. This could be where
Yeah. Malik Washington, Mason, Calvin Austin. Yeah, I think you got to get Schultz in there somehow. I think you got to ride the hot hand.
Well, do you think Chargers D does anything against Jacksonville, or do I just stick with the Rams? I mean, the Rams have been pretty consistent no matter who they face.
Yeah, I might go with the Chargers D there, actually. Against Trevor. That's close. No, Rams is definitely solid, but I think Chargers may have a little bit more upside.
I'll have to look into that more.
Yeah, that's a close one, but 11 against Minnesota, 15 last week. What did the Rams do last week? They didn't do much. They're like 4 points against San Francisco. I have them in a lot of leagues.
Yeah, they did disappoint last week, yeah. And they had that late. I was going to say, Mac Jones threw a bad interception late, too.
Yeah, I think Chargers have a little bit more upside. But you could go with the Rams again. Darnold could turn into a pumpkin possibly. You never know. He's been so money though all year. I mean, last week he didn't do much, but they didn't really have to do anything because their defense dominated. So
I flipped it. We'll see. I'll take us. I always do a final rundown of my lineups on Saturday night. So
yeah, yep. I like it though. That's a good team. Hopefully you hang on there.
Yeah, like I said.
Yeah, auctions are fun, man. That's good.
It was fun. I wish I'm going to do more than one next year. That's for sure.
Yeah, and they're only $150, so it's not like the $350.
Yeah. All right. So let me pull this off the screen now.
And you got Billy. You're winning over Billy. That's good too.
He did a really good job. I learned a lot. I was like, nice. I'm glad Billy's in this auction because I'm gonna fucking pay attention to what he's doing.
Yeah.
Hold on. We want trying to figure out how to get this back to where the layout to where it was.
Yeah, I don't know. StreamYard did something with this freaking.
I know it's different. I'm still trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I just set it to landscape. They have I think they view it on. I think they're trying to do it for mobile. I guess I don't know what they're trying to do.
Whoa. Now it's like full screen. I don't want it full screen. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Oh, that's the one.
I'm back, baby.
All right. So there you go, guys. I just gave you a rundown on some of my teams. I know I definitely didn't show you the shitty ones, but it is what it is. There are some shitty ones. I do have some down, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. I got one. I don't think I have any 12th place teams, but I do recall seeing an 11th somewhere. But I mean, I showed about half of my teams. So you guys saw. I showed my Scott Fishbowl, my TSA League team, my Austin Eckler charity team. I showed you guys my primetime team in 3 or 4 of my OCs. So why don't we talk about, we got our Jets fan here. We got our Patriots fan here. Thursday night football, New England Patriots, New York Jets. Jets coming in hot off 2-game winning streak. Patriots also looking impressive. What are your thoughts, Steve?
The Jets haven't really looked impressive, but the Patriots, the Patriots are playing lights out. Jets, yeah, I guess you could say they're hot. 2 straight wins, 2 kick returns. The offense didn't really have to do much last week, but hey, a win's a win, right? So I don't know what to expect. The Jets could absolutely get freaking hammered in this game. They could lose by 30. I guess, I don't know what they're gonna do, dude. It's so bad. No Garrett Wilson. Adonai Mitchell is not acclimated to the offense yet. John Mechie played a little bit last week, but what's he really gonna do? Tanner Armstrong and the Jets, they really need to get a little bit more aggressive in this game. Aaron Glenn just can't come out and think that his defense is going to dominate and they're going to be able to run the football, 30 times and control the game. They're going to have to throw the football. So, they got to try to give Fields some confidence. They're showing, they're coming out in these games. They're showing absolutely no confidence in it. Now, part is because Fields is holding on to the ball, not seeing things either. But part of it also is because the receivers aren't getting open. And there's a ton of pressure. There's so much pressure on them constantly. But it's hard when you only throw the ball 11 times. You got to get into a rhythm as a passer. So, you got to get a little bit creative. If you really want to win this game, they got to come out and, try to throw it a little bit more and, switch things up. Now, part of throwing it is get it to Breece Hall's hands because every time he touches the ball, usually something good happens.
Yeah.
So get him 4 or 5 screens in this game. Maybe take a shot deep to Breece Hall. They're going to have to use Adonai Mitchell. Lazard was out last week. He stinks. Arian Smith is a, 4th or 5th round rookie. Kyler Johnson, that guy never really made it. He played for the Bucks. I thought he was going to be a thing on the Bucks, but their options are terrible without Garrett Wilson. Mason Taylor, not bad, but he's also a rookie. Their offensive line has been very shaky. It's a young offensive line. And their defense is playing admirably. They're making plays, but now they lose Sauls and Williams. But still, against Dylan Gabriel last week, he had one of his better games of the year. But yeah, man, I mean, the Patriots are playing so lights out. The spread, what's the spread in this game? I haven't even looked at it. It was 12.
-13 New England, yeah.
So, I mean, it's a huge spread. The Jets could definitely just get totally embarrassed. This is the way the Jets are. It'll be a total shit show in the media again. Hopefully they'll fight and it'll be a good game, a close game. Maybe they can get some turnovers. I still don't think the Jets have a turnover on the year, maybe just one all year, which is pretty terrible. But yeah, they'll need some special teams. Fields will have to make some throws, make some big plays. He'll have to use his legs. Hopefully he's fully healthy. He still doesn't even look fully healthy. I know he had a leg contusion against the Dolphins a month ago, and they had their bye, and he still doesn't even look as fast. So I think there's something off with his legs too. He doesn't, and they're not really giving him a lot of run plays. But hopefully they're going to have to do that this week. They're going to have to pull all the rabbits out of the hat this week to beat freaking New England, because New England, credit to Vrabel, man. He's done such a hell of a job coming in, restoring this team back to promise. Now, Drake May's taken a huge leap as well, and they made a lot of good additions. The defense, but even the offense, like Matt Collins was a nice pickup. We're seeing him come on. Kyle Williams was a good pick. We saw him have the 70-yard touchdown. Demario Douglas is solid, picking up Diggs. So they were very proactive, more so than the freaking Bills, who sat on their, rested on their laurels. Matt Collins was their leading receiver last year. So, yeah, credit to Vrabel and the Patriots. They really may win this freaking division.
Nice. Yeah, so I was discussing earlier when I was going over my teams. This Patriots Jets matchup, it worries me a little bit because it's a short week, Thursday night divisional matchup. Some of these divisional games can be funny, man. We saw last week Miami beat up on the Bills. The Raiders played the Broncos pretty tough. That was a close game. The Jets defense, like you said, although they don't have the turnover ratio that you want, I feel like some games their defense actually looked pretty good. They stopped Denver's offense. Obviously that was a terrible play call in that game. That was one of the worst games I ever watched. And Sean Payton was kind of being real careful about his play calling. But I mean, sometimes the Jets defense shows up, dude. And,
they do, yeah. They have a couple times, yeah.
And I'm definitely not comfortable as what the minus 13. I'm not comfortable about that.
That's one of that might be the biggest spread of the year. One of the biggest spreads.
Yeah, it opened at 11.5 and it's at minus 13 now. It's 13.5. Yeah, 13.5 on DraftKings. Ramondre Stevenson is looking like he's going to be back, right? I mean, he's
practice today.
I don't know if
how about Boudet? Is he coming back this week?
No, I don't. I'm still hearing that Booty might miss another week. But I think their early thoughts on Stevenson is they're optimistic, but we'll see. Like I said, we got to see the practice reports. But I think this game is going to be closer than expected. I'm not expecting the Patriots to blow them out. Have you taken a look at any props yet, by any chance?
No, I haven't got to it yet. I'm just looking at the past history here between these two teams. The New England won in New England last year. October 27th. Brissett was the quarterback. It wasn't even Drake May at that point. 15 of 24, 132 yards for Brissett. Rodgers had 2 touchdowns in that game. But, Patriots win. The Jets won the 2 prior matchups to that. Back in September, 24-3. I guess that was Brissett again.
There's completely different teams.
Yeah, completely. Rodgers again. And then, let me see, 2024, 17-3 in New England again. Who the hell was the Patriots quarterback that year? Zappy was your freaking quarterback. Oh, my God. He's terrible. 12 of 30 for 88 yards and 2 picks.
Zappy hour. There were so many Patriots fans that wanted him to be the quarterback.
Dude, I know. People were into Zappy. I was like, this guy is terrible. Dude, it was Trevor Siemian versus Bailey Zappy. And the Trevor Siemian was 8 of 20 for 70 yards. The Jets won 17-3. Holy shit. So, yeah, Drake May, Justin Fields, completely, different coaches, different regimes, different quarterbacks. It's a divisional game. You might be right. Maybe the Jets somehow keep it close. Maybe they come out in defense. They pull something out. But, again, they're going to have to get aggressive with their offense. They can't be – they got to give Fields some confidence, get him into a rhythm. Otherwise, it's probably going to be a really ugly game.
I think it's going to be ugly on both sides. I'm not going to lie. Like I said, I'm trying to not be biased about it and just say the Patriots are going to steamroll because
why do you think? What do you just think they're due for a letdown game? Because they've been playing great week in and week out.
They have, but they haven't. I don't think the last two games against Tampa and Atlanta, they haven't played a full 60 minutes.
Yeah,
They dominated.
And May's kind of made some mistakes here and there.
Yeah, so they dominated Atlanta in the beginning of the game, and then they let Atlanta crawl back. And then last week, Tampa Bay took the ball right away in 3.5 minutes, right down the field for a touchdown. Granted, they made the necessary adjustments to stifle Tampa Bay's rhythm on offense a little bit, but you have to consider that Tampa Bay is also was operating without their top weapons. So once they realized what they needed to do to contain Ibuka, to the point where he's not going to kill them, and then their offense got going. But like I said, they just haven't played a full 60 minutes, and that kind of worries me. It's a short week. It's this game is in New England, so that I guess that helps. I don't even know if that helps. I think they've been better on the road this year than they have been at home. Just going by the eye test, never mind what the numbers say. But I mean, you can look at the numbers too. But I think that they've played better on the road than at home.
Yeah, well, their only loss was at home. One of their losses was at home. No, both their losses were at home. Actually, you're right. To the Raiders and to Pittsburgh.
Well, there you go. Two teams that they should have beat.
Yeah, I don't know how they opened the season losing to the Raiders. That's a shocker, but.
So like I said, I definitely don't think it's a sure thing, and I don't think that it's going to be. So the Vegas has the implied totals 34-17.
Let me see. Let's New England home field. Let's give them 3. We'll give Drake May 4 points. Maybe let's give him 5 in the passing game. Let's give him 4 or 5. So that's 8. And then Vrabel over Glenn, we'll give him 1. That's 9. New England defense, I would say, is probably a 1.5 better. So that's like 10.5. The running games, maybe we'll give the Jets a 0.5 point, so 10. And the receivers, I think you got obviously giving New England a pretty good edge there. So like 11 and a half. So yeah, I think this spread is right on the money, 11.5. Bang. So, can the Jets play within the line? Maybe. They certainly could. I mean, it's the NFL. You never freaking know. And the Jets are going to be fired up for this game. I'd love to see the Jets play at least play tough, like lose by a field goal. Don't get blown out by 30, because if they get blown out by like 30, Aaron Glenn's just going to be absolutely. He's already getting so much heat for these interviews he's doing by not answering these questions. Like he's pissed at Rich Cimini, who's like a lifelong reporter for the Jets, because he broke the Garrett Wilson news that he's going to be out a month. So Glenn was pissed off. He's like, well, you guys have the injury report. Go ask Rich. You don't need it from me. Rich has already given it to you. So, like if they lose this game, they're just going to hammer him. So, for his sake, I hope they keep it close.
Yeah, no. If I had to put a score on the game, I would say it's going to be like maybe like 23 to 16 or 24 to 14, something like that. I don't think it's going to be. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a 37 to 13, whatever Vegas has, 34 to 13. I don't see the Patriots putting up 30 plus points, but I mean, I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I'm a Patriots fan, but I know how these divisional matchups work, and like I said, I'm actually worried about the short week, because one thing Vrabel does is know how to manage practice reps throughout the week. I think he's really good at in getting guys ready for the game, and just with them having to turn around and immediately have a different routine now, because this is like our first Thursday game in a long time. I can't remember the last time the Patriots played on Thursday. So I'm not going to lie. I'm a little bit skeptical about them just walking through the Jets.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the Jets could cover the number. It could be a 10-point game, like you said, low scoring. By the way, Ramondre limited in practice today. So I know there was a little bit of a scare for Trevion at the end of that game, but he's fine.
Yeah, I think he's fine too.
Full practice today, so he's good to go. We'll have to see, what happens with Boudet. If Boudet's out, we saw Matt Collins have a big game. The last couple of weeks, he's been pretty good, actually. And then, Kyle Williams had a big play as well. Now, let me ask you this. If you needed rest of the year, who would you rather have, Matt Collins versus Kyle Williams? But if you needed one guy for this week, who would you rather use if Boudet's out? Kyle
Williams.
Over Mac?
Yeah, I think so, because I think Matt Collins was a switcheroo on Demario. I think the defense was preparing for Demario Douglas, and Mike Vrabel knew that, and Josh McDaniels and Mike Vrabel knew that, and they kind of game planned it. It's all game plan centric with the Patriots offense.
Yeah, so Demario played like the least amount of snaps. So you think he's going to get more in this game?
I think it's very possible. I like Hunter Henry against the Jets.
Jets 19th against tight ends. Fannin 4 for 44 last week. Njoku scored a touchdown on him. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I think, like I said, I could see the Jets defense playing above their head, and one thing I noticed about Drake May and the Patriots is when they can't get into a rhythm, they go right back to Hunter Henry to start the rhythm back up. They want to get a few completions, and there'll be a drive where he gets three catches. I mean, Austin Hooper might be involved too. There'll be a drive where the tight ends get 3 or 4 catches in just to get the momentum going and to just open things up. So yeah, I do think Demario Douglas is in for a bounce back week, as well as Hunter Henry getting.
Hooper didn't practice today, by the way.
Oh, I see. I wasn't, but I'm just the tight end. I think the tight end is gonna. I think
it's better for Henry. Yeah, for Henry.
That's why I actually plugged in Henry in a couple of my spots where I haven't been using him. 3 Amigos team specifically, I threw him in there. I don't know how you feel about that. We'll go back and look at that before.
Yeah, like I said, it's either him or Brian Robinson. That's close, But Henry probably has more upside.
But yeah, I think this is going to be more of a grind for the Patriots offense this week. Like I said, I don't see them going with the big play touchdown.
Yeah, Brees is going up with that Patriots defense, rush defense, just 3.29 yards per carry. That's going to be a tough matchup, but obviously they're going to have to utilize. Now, Sean Tucker actually had a pretty decent game, 9 for 53 last week. But still, they got to get Brees going. If not in the run game, but kind of be, get him some screens, get him in the pass game. I did notice the Patriots have allowed the most receptions to running backs. Did you know that?
Running backs and underneath, anything underneeth, running backs and tight ends. Mason Taylor is probably gonna be involved in the game plan as well. I know last week they didn't use him much, but I looked at Mason Taylor because I have a ton of Mason Taylor. I looked back and I looked at the matchups, and whenever they play a tough defense or a good defense that's against the tight ends, they don't even try to use them. To be honest with you,
you said like over a month ago. You noticed the Patriots were allowing to the tight ends, and then Fannin had 6 for 62. Njoku had a touchdown. Fannin had a touchdown, and then we saw Kate Otten go for 9 for 82. Yeah, so Mason Taylor actually. He might be a pretty solid play in this game.
Yeah, definitely look at Mason Taylor props, and I do think that Breece Hall is going to be involved. I know it was probably 1 or 2, maybe 2 seasons ago, but there was Breece Hall had 8 receptions 2 different times against the Patriots. And looking back at some of the history, I don't have it in front of me, but I just go and I watch all the Patriots games, so I remember. And I think I had Breece Hall in fantasy that particular year. And he was a beast that year. That was the year he had 80-something receptions, right? 81 receptions or whatever he finished with.
Yeah.
And I think he got almost 20 of them against the Patriots, from what I remember. So, like I said, the Patriots do give underneath. That's how their defense has been like the past couple seasons.
They've allowed 61 catches to running backs. The next highest is Seattle with 52.
Yeah, it's a good observation.
But yeah, the Jets receivers you can't use. So Mason Taylor, Brees, obviously, Fields, super flex if you're desperate. Drake May, obviously. What do you think is going to happen if Ramondre's active in this game with Trevion? Because like they were using Jennings early in the game, right? And then Jennings got hurt and they kind of forced their hand to use Trevion. So do you think they're going to go back to Ramondre being kind of the starter again? Or
I do, unfortunately. I mean, I don't think that they'll completely shut off Trevion. I still think that he'll probably, he was getting like 6 to 10 touches, 6 to 10 carries. I think that goes up a little bit. I think he might get like 10 to 10, somewhere between 10 and 13. But I don't think that they're gonna lean on him like they did in the second half against Tampa Bay. Unless they build a lead, then it's possible they minimize what Ramondre. I mean, that's another thing. We have to see exactly how healthy Ramondre really is. Will they use Trevion Henderson on the early downs and maybe just use Ramondre on third downs in obvious passing situations? This could be the case too, depending on how healthy he is. But again, I think that if he comes back and they do use him that way, it's just going to make the offense more predictable, and it could there's just a lot of red flags to me for the Patriots in this game. They're not necessarily big red flags, but enough little ones to just make me a little bit worried about this game.
So if you're in a survivor league, this is going to be a very, very popular survivor pick.
It is. People could be. I mean, you think people have been saving the Patriots?
No, some people probably have, but some people have probably taken them so they can't take them here. But a lot of people are going to take them this week.
This is the first time they're playing the Jets this year too, so you don't know what to expect. It's just the unknown factor of it all.
I mean, they did play Tennessee and Cleveland and New Orleans, so people probably took them there too, and in Carolina. But some people will probably have them in here, and we'll firing them up. Jets are it's almost 6-1 underdog here, so on the money line. So yeah, I don't know. It would be a miracle win if the Jets somehow won this game, but I would love to see it. I just again, I think the chances of the Jets getting blown out are higher. But you're right. I mean, you never know in these division games. Hopefully the Jets can keep within a field goal somehow.
Nice. All right. Well, I've been going. I'm almost at the 2-hour mark here. If you're just tuning in, I went over a bunch of my fantasy football teams this year, my charity league teams, my Scarfish team, my Austin Eckler, my TSA, the Sports Affiliation listener/analyst league. Then I went over some of my high stakes teams, my prime time, a few of my online championships, my one auction, the first auction I ever did this year. Went over some of my lineups, my standings, some of my draft choices. James, shout out James in the chat. It's the first time I've seen him in there, so that's why I mentioned you guys just joining. That's basically what I did tonight. And Steve joined me late after he was on with Ernie on the Face Off channel, going over fab waivers. He came on to talk the Patriots Jets game with me. And we just gave you some of our thoughts on that. Mason Taylor, Brees Hall props look pretty good. I'm in on Hunter Henry. I think it's going to be an ugly game, but I don't think it's going to be a Patriot blowout. But I hope it is. But it's just a lot of little red flags for me in this one that makes me just a little bit worried that that this could be a bit of a trap game for the Patriots. I mean, I still think they win, but I'm not expecting 35-10. I'm expecting closer to like 24-14, 23-16, something a little bit closer.
Dude, Brees Hall's reception prop over 2.5 plus 115. I like that, right?
Yeah, that's definitely in play.
Yeah.
I didn't look at anything in specific, but the players we like: Mason Taylor, Brees Hall, Hunter Henry. I actually like Demario Douglas as well in this. As long as Fields doesn't start, expecting Mason Taylor to do well. Yeah.
I was just saying, James, before you came on, they got to like throw the ball. I mean, like when you have 11, 12 pass attempts, hard to get into a rhythm. Just throw the ball. I mean, they're going to have to throw the ball, I think, at least 20, 25 times in this game. Drake May's going to put up some points. They're freaking 11.5 point dogs. So, they're going to have to throw the football. I like Mason Taylor. He's had some good games with Fields this year. His prop receptions over 3.5 is minus 185, but the receiving total is 33.5 minus 120. That's not a bad one. And they have no receivers. They can't use Adonai Mitchell. Mechie just got there. No Garrett Wilson. So Taylor's going to have to be a big part of the game. And Joe and I just talked about, the New England, leaking to tight ends this year and running backs allowing the most receptions. That's why we like Brees Hall and Taylor props here.
And then basically those are the only guys that the Jets have. I mean, Garrett Wilson's out. And Hunter, I'm looking at this now. Hunter Henry 4+ reception is at plus 123. I kind of like that. I talked about how you might see a drive where he gets 3 catches right there in that one drive. I don't know if he'll be peppered all game like that, but there's going to be a point in this game where the Jets defense stops, maybe forces a couple of punts in a row, and then the next time you're going to see Drake May go right to Hunter Henry just to get some rhythm going. I really see that happening, that scenario playing out. So,
and possibly no Austin Hooper in this game. Didn't practice today.
Yeah. So, all good notes, Steve. I think I'm gonna wrap it up here. Been going almost 2 hours. I appreciate you hopping on for a few minutes and closing out the show with me.
I'm glad I came on. We got to talk about our team, and of course, Jets Patriots Thursday night. Perfect. So thanks for having me on, brother.
Nice. I don't know. Maybe we'll do something before the game Thursday on your channel if you want. I don't know.
If I'm around, I think kids baseball. They have like this is like I have one or two more. Next week is my last week before Thanksgiving. Then I'll be done. Then we can do some Thursday stuff. But maybe if I have time, or if there's a possible rain out or something, we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, you could check out. I've been doing Monday Night Reaction show on Steve's channel at Flair. You want to plug your channel in your show real quick. Let the people know where they can find that.
Yep, YouTube at Fantasy Savvy. Joe is doing a Monday recap show with Joey Brown and Dan Jewell and Josh Bowling. Josh Bowling. Yeah, these guys are all high stakes players. They're doing a great job breaking down the week, giving some good insights. And then Thursday, I do a late night after the Thursday night game. Joe was joining me, and then he had some time off. He's back at work, but I do go after the Thursday night game. I break down the Thursday night game, and then I go over every single game, every single matchup. And then I give out some props and NFL picks. It actually had a really good week this week with the props and picks. And we're over 500 on the season on both. So, yeah, check that out. You can check it out on the rewind the next day. But, yeah, YouTube at Fantasy Savvy. And we're going to add a DFS show after Thanksgiving as well.
Nice. All right. All good stuff, man. All good stuff. So if you're not subscribed to the Sports Affiliation, subscribe to that channel. We're still on our mission trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. We're a little over 800. Appreciate everybody tuning in the chat tonight, and listening. Hope you all got some info, got some insight by me going over my teams and some of my draft choices and my lineup decisions. I thought that was a pretty good little idea. So we'll catch you all next week. Thursday night, Patriots, Jets. Go Patriots.
Go Jets.
Night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.